Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another cast of this Rupee cast featuring Dawn of War 2 Retribution. We're going to get started here with another match I found on Game Replays that looked pretty good. We're on Outer Reaches today, and we've got Rosen as our Apothecary versus JamusMcGamus as our Warp Spider Exarch. Outer Reach is a pretty cool map. Victory points in front of both players' bases, and then one way out here on the opposite corner. And we've got Power and Wreck running down the middle. This bottom power tends to stay contested throughout the match. But anyways, let's get started here. Get this rolling. The Apothecary, obviously, great synergy with the Space Marine army. Gonna probably be getting the Mastercrafted Bolter to deal with the Warp Spider and try to keep him down. Warp Spider obviously gonna be really all kinds of trouble for Space Marine. Can warp around, keep the map control down, really hit your economy. Can really put pressure on your scouts throughout the game and pick off scout models without any issue. Tier 2 can get power blades, which shred Space Marine and make him a pretty soft vehicle counter as well. Pretty standard cap orders. Both heroes heading straight for the middle wreck. This middle line, these 3 points, as I said earlier, generally pretty contested throughout the game. Warp Spider seated back a little bit to then turn around and harass the Apothecary on the center point some more. We can see we've got a second scout squad coming in for Rosen. We'll see if that works out for him. If Jamus intends to go Rangers against that could prove to be quite a wreck drain if he goes with the double scout build. Jamus opting in for some Banshees, which are excellent against Space Marine really in all forms. The good flank, especially on this map, you can see since you have to push yourself so far out and away from your base, it's not hard at all for quick Banshees to come along this center point here and get behind your retreating armies. So we'll see if that comes into play. You can see Jamus already filling up his power farm right off the bat, while Rosen just captured his power node, doesn't have his victory point yet either, so we're going to see some points ticking off pretty quickly here if Jamus manages to capture this center point. Oh, and here come the Banshees screaming in, hacking away at these Space Marines. There goes one special attack. These Space Marines need to get out of there right now. They're probably going to lose at least one model. There goes one. Second, it looks like the third. Oh man, that was a rough encounter for Rosen. His Apothecary didn't quite manage to keep up with that. So he is getting pushed off the map pretty early here. It's going to be... Looks like Jamus is also getting himself a Shuriken Cannon. The Apothecary is really going to be hard-pressed. He really needs to save this power farm right now. If that goes down, that'll pretty much put him miles behind as far as the tech raise goes. You can see the burst damage from the Warp Spider just shredding into these scouts. One burst generally drops a unit. He managed to get both out pretty quickly without losing any models. Warp Spider followed in to try to get another kill there, but didn't quite pull it off. Apothecary coming out, ignoring the Warp Spider, going straight for the power farm. The Banshees did speed away, losing only one model in that engagement. Considering they knocked out 2 tac models, that puts Jamus pretty well in the green as far as wreck loss goes. Oh, very aggressive stance on the Shuriken Cannon, setting up right in front of the Apothecary's base and victory point. The scouts were about to flank it, but the Warp Spider scared them off. And he's really going, just trying to push Rosen back into his base. Jamus has excellent positioning already. Scared him off with the first engagement with the Banshees, and now Jamus is taking these middle contested central map points here. Meanwhile, Rosen still trying to recover the power farm. You can see the resource income is very one-sided in favor of Jamus. These scouts have just not been pulling it off. Oh, there's the ASM jump. And the Shuriken platform is going to be pushed off. Assault Marines obviously have excellent synergy with the Apothecary. Normally after one jump you can focus fire them and try to push them off, but with the Apothecary heal you can jump in pretty safely even if there's a concentrated amount of firepower behind the shuriken platform. Get a heal in and continue your push.
Scouts here. Go ahead.
You can see Jamus opting in for a second shuriken cannon. Gonna have 2 platforms to back up against the assault marines. This is just pretty great build against Apothecary with assault marines. You can leapfrog your platforms forward and have your banshees babysit whichever one he intends to jump on, and have the combined suppression from the secondary cannon to really lock down a section of the map. You can see the Warp Spider always not really a solo hero, doesn't tend to stick with the army too much, just teleports around harassing and decapping the map. That's pretty much how Eldar plays. As you can see the angles of the shurikens covering each other. Here's exactly what I'm talking about. He jumps in, the banshees come in, he immediately has to retreat. He knows the assault marines can't deal with that at all. And once again, Rosen is pushed off the field. Meanwhile, Jamus going tier 2 while Rosen is not even close. It'll be interesting to see how this rolls out for him. Warp Spider picking off some scouts. And Rosen just really not able to get too much map here. Getting a couple caps here and there, but Jamus really controlling the overall flow of the battle right now. The Apothecary did get the Mastercrafted Bolter, I mentioned that earlier. That gives him the full auto ability, which really can put a stop to the Warp Spider shenanigans in general. That lets him knock over a unit for several seconds and do some pretty heavy range DPS as well. The first shuriken platform is retreating, and as you can see, the Apothecary will be able to pull off a heal right here. And once those assaults charge back up for the second jump, they can move in on the second shuriken and knock that down. The good thing about this central map, like this fighting area right here, Eldar being a quicker army, is that by the time those assaults do get in, this shuriken will be able to move back out and set up again on the center point. We can see immediately Jamus is getting his squad leaders, his Warlock and Banshee Exarch for his two squads here, and setting up a shuriken on the bottom power, which those scouts almost took. Rosen finally with a full power farm. He's gonna have to defend it right here. The Banshees suppress the entire army with a Banshee Scream. Couldn't figure out what he was doing with those Banshees there. He should have really just stuck on one target. He decided to go after the Apothecary, then ran around a bit, went after the tax, fell back, got a grenade in, but ultimately those Banshees did too much running around and not enough damage, so they're going to have to fall back. In reaction to the heavy Mastercrafted Bolter, the Warp Spider got the heavy gauge Death Spinner, so the heroes will probably be taking turns trying to knock each other out and keep their effects off of the field. The Assault Marines again jumping in. Killed one generator, it looks like he's satisfied with that and gonna fall back. Try to do a little more damage, but he needs to get out of there. Those Guardians aren't gonna hold up to the Space Marine force right there. Both shuriken guns falling back. This is Rosen's first attempt to really take some map here. Finally a battle in his favor. He can now grab the center points here. Banshee's rolling back in. Decide not quite yet. Is still a little low on HP. You can see Jamus not pushing when he knows he doesn't need to, waiting for the rest of his support to get in. And the Space Marines are here in force with their attacks, and the Assault Marines, supported by the Apothecary, really need to have a solid force to take that up. Rosen finally managed to hit tier 2, but in the meantime, Jamus is getting himself a Wraith Guard, or Wraith Lord, I'm sorry, a Walker, that should prove pretty difficult for Rosen to deal with as of right now. Rosen has no real anti-vehicle capabilities, depending on what his tier 2 upgrades turn out to be. An excellent Merciless Strike, knocking those Banshees all to their backs. Unfortunately, the assaults... missed grenade, I'm not sure what that was targeted at. The assaults didn't take the Banshees out, but knocked off several members. Got that Assault Marine Sergeant just in the nick of time for that battle.